What's going on YouTube? So vehicles in the US just seem to be getting more and more expensive. As a matter of fact, there are only 8 vehicles left that are available for under $22,000. And I'm sitting next to one of them right now. This is the all-new Kia K4, which is promising to combine great styling, technology, all for a great value as well. So were they successful? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, as far as the exterior design is concerned, this vehicle really makes a bold statement, I think, especially in this segment, which can be kind of tame and boring overall. Now, down here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see all the trim levels that this vehicle is available in. We actually previously featured the EX trim level on the channel, but like I was mentioning, this is now the GT line. It's just now becoming available at dealerships, and this is going to have a special fascia, so it's going to be a lot more aggressive looking than the other trim levels. You can see you've got the gloss black finish to your Tiger Nose grille up here at the top, and then the most noticeable update is down here at the bottom, where this is going to have a very aggressive looking lower fascia. Now, as we move over here to the headlights, this is an impressive element I do want to talk about. So even though this vehicle starts out at a very affordable price tag, you will always have standard full LED headlights on all models. However, one of the things that you get by going for this top-end GT line with the turbocharged engine are these beautiful crystal projector LEDs. So check this out. You've got this really nice looking stacked design. This is super premium. You also have that signature daytime running light and turn signal indicator, which goes through there in that very distinct amber finish. That's going to be across all the trim levels, no matter which one you choose. Now, moving into the wheels, the sizes are going to begin at 16-inch alloys. However, if you move up the trim structure to the GT line, that unlocks the largest size wheel you can get. This is an 18-inch alloy wheel. Now, between the GT line and the GT line Turbo, you're going to notice a difference. This is one of the only things actually with the exterior that you can tell this has the turbocharged engine under the hood, and that's the fact that this is a gloss black finish to this 18-inch alloy. You get a contrast finish on the model without the turbocharged engine. You also notice you've got the gloss black wheel arches that surround the wheels and across the lower part of the body. And then also in the GT models, you have the gloss black finish to our mirrors. Now, in terms of what technologies you get on board, heating is going to be standard equipment. You get blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert as well, so long as you choose anything except the base LX trim. Now, I backed up here so we could get a good look at the side profile because Kia says this is the longest and the widest compact sedan in the entire segment. This comes in at 185 inches long, so that is going to be about 1 to 2 inches longer than even the already large Honda Civic model. Now, as I kind of move towards the rear, before I get back there, I do want to point out you've got this very unique looking pillar. And it's not only just the shape of it giving it a fastback profile, but it's also that you have a hidden door handle right here. So actually your back doors, this gives it a very coupe-like look, but the door handle itself is right there built into that pillar. Now, as you can see, this very aggressive slope coming down to the back, you actually will be able to get a hatchback version of this. Kia just this morning confirmed to me that the hatchback will be available in the US in late 2025. So now we've got some official timing of when that will be available. But as we kind of come into the details of this rear design, you've got a beautiful look to this. Again, really emphasizing the width. You've got those taillights pushed out to the far outside edges. They will be partially LED on all trim levels. However, this very top-end model gets the full LED finish. So as you can see, very premium and upscale look. Again, the GT lines as well are going to get more aggressive things down here in your lower fascia. Now, in terms of your safety systems, you have all 4 of the major active safety systems as standard equipment on all trim levels. That even includes smart cruise control. Now, you can also option on the additional Highway Drive Assist 1.0 and 2.0, depending on which trim level you choose. But that's enough of the really stylish exterior. Let's go ahead and get into the inside to see if it's also stylish and see how much technology and luxury they have included.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out the inside now. First, of course, let's take a look at the key fob. This is the newest Kia key fob. You have all your buttons over here on the side. You've got a standard smart entry system and also remote start. Digital keys available on your top trim levels. And then to get inside the vehicle, just grab behind the handle. That will unlock the door. All right, but looking inside at this new interior, I think you're going to find a lot of things to be impressed with. I'm especially impressed with this fully loaded example because it still has a very affordable price tag, but we have very premium things such as the seats. So while your lower trims come standard with cloth seats, this top model comes with a full Syntex. That's going to be a fake leather, basically. But as you can see, it's a beautiful two-tone design. I really like this look. It definitely spices up the cabin. Feels reasonably realistic, and you have a GT line branding right there in the seat back. The seats themselves are power adjusting, and you have two-way lumbar support. And then let me turn over here to the door trim, because this is something that you don't expect to see on a vehicle in this class. We have memory seats. This is optional on this model. We have heated seats. That's on most trims. And we have ventilated seats. That's right, ventilated seats. That's another available option on the GT line models. Really quite impressed to see those features in the compact segment. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we're fully inside the vehicle, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. So you've got a leatherette over here on your armrest. It will also continue all through the center section of this door trim, and it's a soft touch plastic along the top. As you move to the upper dashboard, this will all be finished in a soft touch material. We have this kind of faux carbon fiber looking trim running through here. You have a little bit of a gray finish that runs through the center section with that single vent effect. Also want to mention that this model has the available ambient lighting system that kind of runs underneath it there, as well as some other areas of the interior. And then down here on our lower panels, this is not padded. We don't expect that in this segment of vehicle, but it does still have the two-tone finish to kind of match with the seats. Now our push button start is located right there next to the shifter. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Now let's go ahead and get into some of the individual details. We're starting out here with our gauge cluster as always. So starting at the EX trim level, that's where you'll get this full digital 12.3-inch reconfigurable gauge cluster. Certain things do change, and you can obviously customize the graphics. You also have a little bit of differences when you switch between the drive modes. And even the standard trims, those will come with a digital cluster, but only the center section will be reconfigurable. Now, as I pull back to the steering wheel, you're going to see a unique design element of this interior. So this is a new wheel design for Kia's brand here. And we do have a flat bottom on the top and the bottom, which is quite interesting. It's a two-tone finish, and you also have that offset Kia logo, which is something we're going to see on many of their models in the upcoming years. The wheel itself, of course, is manual, tilt, and telescoping. But let's go ahead and get into interior storage next. So as I come over here to our center console and open that up, you'll see pretty nicely sized console. This is really good actually for this segment. You have a little bit of padding down there at the bottom. Now I don't have my donuts with me. I'm sorry, don't get too mad, but today I'm here in Texas, so I couldn't bring them with me. You'll have to take my word though that does fit quite a few of them. Another versatile storage touch is this right here. So you can see that we have two cup holders. This will accommodate a really large cup like a Stanley. And if you want it to be for something smaller, just press that button and that will kind of tighten down that diameter. Moving to the very front here, another storage cubby. This is also a wireless phone charging pad so long as you get the EX trim or above. Now, as we pull back to the shifter, you just have a traditional style shifter. Pull back for drive, bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually. Both the GT line models come with paddle shifters, although of course if you have the one with the CVT, that will just be a simulated shift. And then when I go into reverse, This is an unexpected feature for this class of vehicle. Once again, we have a 360-degree camera system. So this is optional on this GT line turbo model in the technology group. But you've got that really nice overhead view. You have front and rear sensors. And if I press that button, we can even go into the full 3D view. These are graphics that are actually borrowed just straight from all the other high-end Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis products. Really nice stuff. And then off to the side, you have your electronic parking brake with your brake hold system. Now continuing up to the next section, we have our climate controls. So it's actually going to be these buttons right here. You've got a dual zone automatic setup on the EX trim level and above. And you can just quickly make those temperature adjustments right there on those buttons. You'll notice that it's just kind of a few basic buttons, and that's because the rest of your controls are actually up here. So this is a 5-inch display. It's actually wedged in between the other two displays. So technically, you could really say this vehicle has 3 different displays. And you can make adjustments to things like your fan speeds. You can see your temperature and zones right up there. The only thing I will say is that at a glance, the steering wheel actually completely blocks out that display. I mean, at first I didn't even realize it was there. So if you want to see your temperature, you might have to click up and down just to have it flash up over here. Now, before I get into that display, I want to go ahead and speak about this row of buttons as well. This is obviously for your audio system. So with this model today, we have the 8-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. The other trims will come with a lower sound system as well, but if you want the Harman Kardon, that will be reserved for just the GT line trim levels. Overall sound quality is quite nice, certainly fills up the cabin well, and you know, several of the vehicles in this segment actually do not even offer a branded sound system at all. Now, let's focus in next on this third display. So this is our main infotainment screen. It is also 12.3 inches, and I'm surprised to say it is standard equipment on all trim levels. Now there are a few differences between them. If you get an upper example, you're going to see that you've got, you know, navigation built into the screen, but I think the thing that most people are going to be looking for is wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Both of those features are included on all trim levels of this new K4. This is the CCNC system, so it's very nice and responsive. It is wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well, and you have the ability for over-the-air updates as well. Up above, we've got a manual dimming mirror. An auto dim mirror is available. Kia also is going to be making available the My Q garage door opener inside of the screen itself, beginning in January of 2025 via a update. And then lastly, up here at the top, I'll go ahead and slide back the power sunshade for this sunroof. So this is a little bit wider than your typical sunroof. That is what Kia calls it, a wide sunroof. And this is going to be included on just the turbo model, although you can option it on to some of the lower trims. All right, now it's time to check out the back seats as well. Just kind of go ahead and get inside using that door handle, show that off, and taking a look inside, you're going to notice quite a lot of space. Kia is claiming this is the largest in the class. It is certainly the longest in the class, and let's go ahead and kind of put that to the test by sitting behind my 5'8" driving position. So here's what that looks like. I am quite comfortable. We have a good amount of space right here, and Kia's rating this at 38 inches of legroom and 37.3 inches of headroom if you want those specific numbers. We also here at Car Confections like to get our own knee measurement so we can see how it kind of works in reality behind the 5'8" driving position. Looking like we've got 6 inches of knee room. That is pretty good. My feet can't really slide up under the seat though. It's a little tight down there. But overall, I am quite comfortable. I would say this is just about right in line with the Civic. They're both very big vehicles at this point. Honestly, compacts are just as large as midsize sedans used to be just a few years ago. And 38 inches of legroom, by the way, is really very similar to the K5, the bigger brother to this model. Now, let's talk about some features back here. As you can see, we have vents. If you want the vents, that is reserved for just the GT line turbo. So you've got to kind of max out your K4 to get the vents. But all of them do come with the 2 charging USB ports, as well as the little storage bin right there. Turning over to the side, we have a nice armrest with cup holders built in. You also have these kind of interesting looking seats where you can hang objects and use them as like a little coat hook. And then as far as the door trim is concerned, as we expect from an economy compact vehicle, you're going to have a little bit cheaper materials back here, including a hard touch plastic. But down here on the lower parts, where your arm will rest, this is all still going to be covered in a leatherette. All right, and let's go ahead and check out the trunk. Now, like I said, it is a trunk until that hatchback model comes out soon. But you still have a lot of space inside, 14.6 cubic feet of cargo capacity to be exact. That is very large for a compact sedan. That is also going to be just a little behind the Civic though, and about 1 cubic foot behind the Kia K5 if you need something a little bit bigger. But as you can see, plenty of space. Got all my camera gear right over here on this side. The seats also do fold down if you need to pass a long object through there. And we've got a spare tire. A lot of brands are starting to cheap out on that, so you'll be glad to see that, as well as a handle to close it up easily. All right, everybody, it's time to head out on the road with this new model. As always, in this test drive, I'm going to be covering a great deal of things right here on the screen. I am also going to begin this test drive with a hard acceleration. "60 miles an hour, just like that. Now, yes, I was going a little bit downhill there, but it's a good indication of the performance of this model. So, with this 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, this is kind of the replacement, in essence, to the previous Forte GT. Yes, this is called the GT line, but it's really very equivalent to that GT model in terms of its overall power output. You're looking at 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. That old model just made a little bit more power, but not a lot more. It was about 200 horsepower, and I don't think you'll notice a big difference. It is enough, as you might have been able to hear, to actually spin the front wheels a little bit, because, not to jump the gun, this is front-wheel drive only across the entire lineup, no matter which engine you choose. So you actually can lose a little bit of traction up there in the front if you go flat out. Yeah, this is really a quite punchy powertrain. The 195 pound-feet of torque really, pushes you back in your seat and feels quite nice in a vehicle of this size. Now, I also want to talk about the transmission as well. So this has an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that really is a key difference between this and the standard engine option, which all the other trim levels come with in the K4 lineup, that, by the way, is a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, has 147 horsepower, and power is routed through a continuously variable transmission. So if you don't like CVTs, you might want to spring for this GT Turbo, because that gets you the 8-speed automatic transmission. And I do think this is a more pleasurable driving experience. There's nothing wrong with the CVT. It's actually quite nice. And if you want to check out a driving sample of that, we have also driven the EX with the CVT and the base powertrain setup. So make sure you go check that out if you want to get a good picture of the performance of that model. But obviously, this is the way to go if you want that more enthusiast feel behind the wheel. Now, I found a little bit of a curvy road out here just outside of Austin, Texas today. And we can kind of talk a little bit about the overall handling of this vehicle. So with this GT line model, you have a multi-link rear suspension. That's kind of a noteworthy difference from all the other versions of the K4. And I do think, having driven that model previously, that this does handle better. It has a more agile feel. Overall, a nice balance, I think, between the ride quality, which I'll talk about in just a second, and that handling characteristic. So you can kind of go through these corners. Yeah, nice feel to this. Not a ton of body roll. The steering is lightweight, but it's really responsive. And you have a nice bite when you turn in sharply. Now, of course, I'm sure everyone wants to know, how does this compare to the Civic? No, it's not as sporty as the Civic, especially not the SI trim, which I guess this and that are kind of similar in terms of its overall power. That being said, this is no slouch. All in all, it really does feel nice when we go around these corners. I definitely like it. I'm going to switch into sport mode and do manual shifting with these paddle shifters. So I switched into manual mode and I'm using the paddle shifters. Now if you remember with the Forte GT, you actually had a 6-speed manual transmission or a dual clutch transmission. Actually both of those are gone. Now you have that 8-speed as I was talking about earlier, but I am happy to say that performance here with the paddle shifters is perfectly fine. It is nice and responsive. They've done a good job with that. And then, of course, you have the benefits of having a traditional automatic. So when you are just driving around town, you don't have any of that weird dual clutch lurchiness or anything like that to deal with. So I think this is certainly the right move. Now I'm out on a highway. Again, I'm in Texas, so not on our local roads, but addressing the ride quality, I have to say I'm quite impressed by this. I feel like this is one of the most comfortable in the segment. It really does a good job of isolating me from these road imperfections that I'm going over right now. And overall, it does feel nice and solid as well. Kind of a class above experience in a way. That being said, as you can see, I'm accompanied only by me, myself, and I. So there won't be able to be a sound level reading. I can't really take that while I'm driving through the traffic right now. Now, we have already tested out the EX trim back home in Kentucky, but there are certain enhancements to this GT line model, such as the acoustic laminated windshield and also some different tires that are supposed to actually help with the sound insulation. So definitely want to test this one out in Kentucky as well. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. Now, as far as the Slam Dunk and Airball today, I have to say the Slam Dunk really feels like just the overall value of what you're getting with this product. I felt the same way about the value of what you got in the standard version, and I feel the same with this one because they've added so much more. Even as the price goes up quite a bit, you get so much additional stuff, including this turbocharged engine. I really like this powertrain. The cabin is so premium, and you have a lot of features you wouldn't even expect for this segment of vehicle. On the Airball side of things, I think I'm going to say that I really just want a manual transmission. Several of the rivals actually do offer a manual transmission on, their performance variants like this is. And I think it would really kind of enhance that overall fun to drive feel if we had a manual transmission. Now, you heard me say at the beginning, this is one of just a small handful of vehicles that's available under $22,000 to start out. The base price of this model at the LX trim is indeed $10 less than $22,000. Now, as you move up the trims, of course, you're going to kind of escalate that price. And let's take a look now at the sticker for today's fully loaded example. This is the K4 GT Line Turbo. And we also have the technology package, which is $2,200. With your destination included, we now max out at a price tag of $31,445, which I think is still a pretty darn good deal given all that you get with this model in its fully loaded state. Now, if you are looking to get a Kia K4 or any new model, make sure you head over to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. When you do, that will connect you to local dealerships in your area who will get you the best price on a new vehicle, and it will also give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. A link is provided in the video description if you want to check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about resale value and reliability. Now, Mason is an economics graduate, and he took the time to design a tool to predict resale value. Taking a look at our website, this Kia K4 is predicted to retain 49.02% after 5 years of its value and 21.13% of its value after 10 years and 100,000 miles. Now that is going to be a kind of mid-pack in terms of its overall resale value. Certainly you will have better resale value with some of the Japanese rivals, and you'll have worse with some of the American brands. Now we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources on reliability and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Kia is rated just a bit over the overall industry average for all vehicle makes. Now, if you want more information about resale value or reliability, as well as to learn about our methodology, make sure you head over to carconfections.com/resale value and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new car is a big deal, so it's important that you get all the information you need to make an informed decision. And that's where I'm leaving off with today's review of this all-new Kia K4. Hopefully you enjoyed this in-depth look at this new model, especially here in its fully loaded GT Line Turbo trim level. And if you did enjoy that, make sure you go down below and click subscribe. When you subscribe, that tells automakers such as Kia that you value our content, and that's why they invite us to events to see the latest and greatest new vehicles out there. If you're already a fan and subscriber, we really appreciate your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.